you. Welcome to CorreoTV. This is the English edition of CorreoTV. I am Isabel Inclán, the editor-in-chief of Correo Canadiense newspaper. Today, we will talk about the challenges of learning online. Our guest today is Derik Chica, who is the lead guidance counselor for 18, 20 years old students in the northwest of Toronto. Derik, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks for being here. Derik Chica is a member of the Equity Leadership Collective, which works toward recognizing that everyone is different. This is very, very important because probably in recent years, we were talking about we need equality. Now we talk about, no, we are different and we need to be treated like a different person, right? He is a co-founder 10 years ago of the Latinx Afro-Latin America via Yala Education Network. Derik, my first question for you is, what are the challenges of learning online?
Yeah, I think so in my position in guidance, I speak to a lot of students and I enjoy my position very much and I like listening to students. Learning online has helped some students. I do want to say that. I want to start with that. There are some students with social anxiety, for example, who have trouble focusing in a large group of students, but online they can set up their little space at home and learn online well. Online learning has existed for a very long time. The challenges we're facing now is that online learning is being forced upon to everybody pretty much, right? And not like you said in your introduction, not everybody learns the same, and online learning has shown to be difficult for a lot of students. Even from the idea, should I turn my camera on or not, right? Because if someone's at home and they turn their camera on, there's almost like it's different, right? Like you can see the inside of the home unless they have filters, and it's just not the same. And we all know this. We know that when we talk to each other, for example, it's different. Like right now, talking to you over video, if we were in the same room, there's like a different energy there, right? Like there's a different understanding, a different feeling that we get when we're in person. And that feeling is gone when it's online, right? So it becomes very shallow. A lot of students have their cameras off, which means you just see a lot of squares. So you don't get the social experience that you have with everybody around you. And from a teacher perspective, because I was a teacher before, I'm a math and science teacher. As a teacher, I can walk around a classroom and like help someone one-on-one. I can get students together in groups, get them to stand up, move to different parts of the room. Online, you can't do any of that. There's different things I can do online, but it's just not the same as in person. And so I think in general, I'd say the social experience is what's missing from a lot of the online things. And people are just not learning as well as they could in person.
Mm-hmm. And also learning online has the experience that, for instance, at the university level, probably high school level, the teacher just put a lecture or something like that, and just the tape is running, and the students are learning from a lecture or from one piece of topic. So it's a different kind of experience of learning, right?
Yeah, it's not, and we have to remember also that in high school, people have many different paths in life, right? Some people are going to apprenticeship trades for plumbing, electrician, things like that. Other people are going to college to become like practical nurses or many different things in college, right? So there's lots of different learning styles in high school. And yeah, just the idea of having to put a video on just is not good learning. It's YouTube, right? A school is much more than YouTube.
Yeah, and why some teachers and why some of our students, our members of the family, because we see at home, they are learning like that, and we ask like, where are the teachers?
Yeah, and that's been a big struggle, I know, because teachers I talk a lot to teachers because in my position, I'm also a leader in the school for departments. And so I speak to a lot of the teachers and how they're doing. And a lot of them, like ones who have kids at home, for example, are trying to teach with kids, or they're trying to teach and they have their kids that they're also trying to help at the same time. Other people, what I've seen are amazing teachers in person. So in person, you get a group of students in front of them and they're teaching very, very well. But you now on a screen, it's not the same thing. You can't teach the same way. And so I know a lot of teachers are struggling with mental health. And the tough thing about that now is, okay, you have to prepare a different lesson every day. So unfortunately, they fall to like putting on videos or things like that. But I'd have to say that talking to a lot of teachers, for the most part, teachers are doing the best they can right now. And it's just, this is not what they signed up for. Like they didn't sign up to teach into a computer. They signed up to be in a room full of students. And that's, I think, where teachers do their best work.
I'm talking about the impact on the students, like going to the school for probably 1 month, and then we realize about the situation of Omicron, and the authorities decide, no, stay at home again. And then after 2 weeks or something, okay, you can go back to the school. What are the impacts or the negative effects of that jumping for the students?
It's not good. They're not getting good lessons. Like from a teacher perspective, preparing a lesson for a group of students who's in person is different than preparing a lesson for a group of students who are online. So if we learn last minute, oh, hey, everyone's going to be online tomorrow, we don't have enough time to prepare a lesson for online, right? Like, because we were preparing for in person. So those switches is not like, if we're trying to prepare really good lessons that engage all the students and get them excited and they have fun and they learn about the math and science, whatever it is, a lesson like that takes time to plan, and it's not something that can just switch from online to in person. So every time there's a switch, it's not good. And from a student perspective, what I'm hearing from students is that they almost, there's almost like a feeling of hopelessness, right? So I'm thinking of my grade 12 students who are going to college and university, for example. They're worried about applications. Applications are due this month, and college applications are due February 1st. And this constant chaos created between switching back and forth is just, it gives them like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to get in. I'm just going to give up, right? And then I'm there being like, don't give up. We can do this. We can do that to try to help you out. And so I feel like students are just tired of going back and forth, and like being honest. I mean, because all of this is political. Like we could plan better. I do feel the government could have planned this a lot better, could have worked with school boards. I mean, right now, I don't know if everyone who's listening is following, but school boards are writing letters to the government. There's just everyone's writing letters to the government saying work more closely with all of us, right? So I just feel the government could have done a lot better with the planning of all of this, so this chaos doesn't happen.
Okay, and in this with this problem, how can parents help the students? What can we do as a mom, as a daddy, if we want to do better for our sons and daughters?
I have a child too. I have a 3-year-old at home, and I think so. Not in school yet, in daycare, but I think this is not a normal period of time for the past 2 years. This is still a pandemic, right? Things are still happening last minute all the time. I think at a time like this, empathy is the most important thing. I think we need to listen to our children. We need to see how they're feeling. We need to understand that maybe they're not going to do their best work, and that's okay right now, as long as we listen to them. We talk to our teachers, we listen to the teachers, talk to the principals, listen to the principals, and just advocate for our children as much as possible. That's always important, but still listen, because I think right now, with all the divisions in society, we need to listen to each other and sort of have more empathy for each other.
And also, I think it's very important that the parents try to create a good space, like it's a substitute now from the classroom, right? So with light, with a good connection, with a good desk, is it possible? Something like that, no?
Exactly. Yeah. And so as much as possible, students still need that quiet learning space, right? So this has been my advice to some students as well, because sometimes students are they're learning in very noisy environments. And sometimes you can't help that because, again, it's the pandemic. But if possible, it is important for the student to have sort of a space in their home where they can just set things up the way they want, and where it's relatively quiet, and learn better, right? And so having a computer, a laptop, or a Chromebook, or some sort of device with a keyboard. What I see a little bit too much of is students trying to use their phones to do everything. It's hard to use your phone to do everything. And so having some sort of device is important. And if you can't afford a device, talk to your school, because your school might be able to help. And so just setting that up, I think, at the home is more important, because this is what we do in classes, right? When students come in, we make sure the space that they're in is a good learning space. And so that sort of needs to be in the home. And so it needs to be a learning space as much as possible, because I know it's pandemic education. It's not normal.
Okay, Derik, and my next question is regarding your experience as a teacher, as a education counselor, and everything. What can you tell the students directly? Hopefully, if we have in our audience are elementary students or a high school student, what can you tell them?
Talk about how you're feeling. Talk about how you're doing. Your voice is very important. It's very important that you talk to your parents, your teachers, caregivers, family, about how you're doing and how you can learn better. Because your parents or your caregivers can help you advocate to the school system, saying, okay, this is what my child needs. And I know that's hard sometimes for children and students, but in the end, it's better for education, right? And your teachers can listen to you, right? Talk to your teachers about what your goals are. If you want to try to get a higher mark, tell that to your teachers and see what your teachers can do. And yeah, just voicing up and speaking whatever your truth is, I think, is very important.
Okay, great, Derik. And just finally, can you tell us shortly about that network, educational network, Avi Yala Educational Network, what they do, what is the most important for this organization?
Yeah, so I'll now relate it to what we're talking about now. About 10 years ago, we found that the school system needed to improve a little bit for our Latinx, Latin American community. And so what we decided to do, us and a bunch of organizations, right? We decided to form a common front to advocate to the school systems to say, look, this is what our community needs. What we're hearing from our youth is that they feel that teachers have lowered expectations of them, right? They feel that they face racism in school. And so we went to the school system to tell them that, and we advocated to try to improve the school system. I think this is very important, because going back to that question, what can parents do, what can students do? This is part of that advocacy. Parents can join school councils. School counselors are very, very important in making decisions for the school. Parents can and students can talk to the politicians that represent them: trustees, MPPs, MPs, counselors, mayor, premier, prime minister, whomever. They're supposed to represent you. You need to talk to them, because the government makes decisions that sort of limit what our decisions can be, right? They frame our decisions. And so if you feel that they could do a better job, you need to talk to them. And I feel that that's what community organizations do a good job of doing, is trying to advocate to the government to do better, but it requires everybody as a collective to do the same thing as well.
Okay, Professor Derik Chica, thank you so much for being here and share with us, with the public of CorreoTV, all this reflection related to that difficult moment that we are facing with this pandemic, and the impact in the school, in the learning, in all around our students. Thank you so much for being here.
Muchas gracias, y disculpe por todo el inglés. My Spanish is not very good. Thank you.
No, muy bien, muchas gracias, y esperemos tenerte aquí en una próxima ocasión. Gracias, Derik.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Gracias. Thanks to you, and see you next program, CorreoTV, next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.